what's up? It's Kayla. How's everybody doing today? I hope that you're doing amazing. Halloween is right around the corner, so I thought I would do something a little spooky and festive and talk about Halloween traditions and where they came from. Just had to change my position really quickly. I think that it gives the video more light if I sit this way. I kind of remind myself of Trisha Paytas when she records her videos on the kitchen floor. Well, I'm on my bedroom floor. So let's get into Halloween and its traditions and origins. In the early days, it was celebrated at the Festival of Samhain. Um, it was a celebration of the end of summer and beginning of harvesting time and culture. People would light fires and wear costumes in order to ward off any scary spirits at all. The evening before was known as All Hallows Eve, which eventually turned into Halloween. And then Halloween evolved. It became a fun day of activities like carving pumpkins, trick or treating, wearing costumes, bobbing for apples, etc. So, jack o' lanterns, how did those start? What's the story with that? So, according to Mental Floss, that's where I got all this information. Jack o' lanterns were originally based in Ireland using turnips at first. Um, they are supposedly based off a legend of a man named Stingy Jack. He repeatedly trapped the devil and would not let him go unless he was promised that he would not go to hell. Jack. So, as it turns out, Jack went neither to heaven nor hell, and now his soul wanders earth for all of eternity. But on the way to hell, the devil gave Jack a lump of burning coal and a carved out turnip. That was to light his way, and eventually locals began carving frightening faces into their own gourds to scare off evil spirits. So, guys, what's the deal with ghosts? What does that have to do with Halloween? So, as it turns out, Celtic people believed that during the celebration of Samhain, it marked the transition to the new year at the end of the harvest and beginning of the winter. Spirits walk the earth. Duh. Later, the introduction of All Saints' Day on November 2nd, it was kind of an idea of combining and mingling people from the living and people from the dead. Scary costumes. With all these ghosts wandering around Earth, there has to be some way to protect yourself, right? So that's what people did. People would try to fake out the ghosts and don costumes to avoid being mistaken for spirits themselves and to be left alone. Trick or treating. There were a couple versions of this. There was like the Scottish way, the pagan way. I went with the American way. So it says some sources argue that the act of trick or treating actually stems from something called belsnicking, which is a tradition in German American culture where children would dress in a costume and then call on their neighbors to see if the adults could guess the identities of the disguised guests. In one version of the practice, the children were rewarded with food or other treats if no one could identify them. So that's how costumes came about. Since I'm a cat lady, I had to know this. What is the deal with black cats and Halloween, or just being spooky in general? So the association of black cats and spookiness actually dates all the way back to the Middle Ages, where these dark kitties were considered a symbol of the devil. It didn't help the felines' reputations when, centuries later, accused witches were often found to have cats, especially black ones. People started believing that the cats were a witch's familiar, animals that had that gave them an assist with their dark magic, and the two have been linked ever since. Bobbing for apples, the game Bobbing for Apples, where you have um, a bucket and then you put apples in there, they float, I guess, and then you bob for apples and try to pick one up. So this game traces its origins to a courting ritual that was a part of Roman festival honoring Pomona, the goddess of agriculture and abundance. Multiple variations existed, but the gist was that young men and women would be able to foretell their future relationships based on the game. Interesting. And then I thought this was fascinating too. Why do we celebrate Halloween using the colors black and orange? The classic Halloween colors can also trace their origins back to the Celtic festival Samhain. Black represented the death of summer, while orange is emblematic of the autumn harvest season. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. People started believing that the cats were a witch's familiar, animals that gave them an assist with their dark magic, and the two have been linked ever since. Bobbing for apples, the game Bobbing for Apples, where you have um, a bucket and then you put apples in there, they float, I guess, and then you bob for apples and try to pick one up. So this game traces its origins to a courting ritual that was a part of Roman festival honoring Pomona, the goddess of agriculture and abundance. Multiple variations existed, but the gist was that young men and women would be able to foretell their future relationships based on the game. Interesting. And then I thought this was fascinating too. Why do we celebrate Halloween using the colors black and orange? The classic Halloween colors can also trace their origins back to the Celtic festival Samhain. Black represented the death of summer, while orange is emblematic of the autumn harvest season. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Candy apples, how did they start? Well, people have been coating fruits in sugar for a long time as a means of preserving them. So, since the development of the Roman festival of Pomona, the goddess often represented by and associated with apples, the fruit has had a place in harvest celebrations. But the first mention of candy apples being given out as at Halloween didn't occur until the 1950s. Candy in general. The act of going door to door for handouts has long been a part of Halloween celebrations. But that wasn't true until the middle of the 20th century. The treats kids received were not necessarily candy, as they usually are today. So they would be given toys, coins, fruits, and nuts. The 1950s inspired candy companies to make a marketing push with small, individually wrapped confections. People obliged out of convenience, but candy didn't really dominate at the exclusion of all other treats until parents started fearing anything unwrapped in the 1970s. Candy corn. Not my favorite, not a lot of people's favorites, but it exists, right? So, according to some stories, a candy maker at the Wonderly Candy Company in Philadelphia invented the revolutionary tricolor candy in the 1880s. The treats didn't become a widespread phenomenon until another company brought the candy to the masses in 1898. At the time, candy corn was called a chicken feed, and it was sold in boxes with the slogan, "Something worth crowing for." Originally just autumnal candy because of corn's association with harvest time, Candy corn became Halloween specific when trick-or-treating rose to prominence in the US in the 1950s. So that's all I got for you guys today, but I hope Halloween is tomorrow. So I hope that you all have a great Halloween, be spooky, give out lots of candy to kids, and have fun. But most of all, be safe. Halloween kind of brings out the craziness and evil in people, I think. So just stay safe, stay indoors, you know, whatever. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. This is my new setting. I don't know if this will stick, but good angle, not bad. So anyway, like this video, comment what you're doing for Halloween. Are you dressing up? Are your kids dressing up? What are you gonna do? Guys, that does it for my video today. Thank you for watching. How do you like my little cat ears? Aren't they cute? I was a skunk once for Halloween, and we used these same ears. My mom made my costume. I had a little white stripe on the back. But as far as my plans go for tomorrow, I probably won't be doing anything. I don't have any friends who have cool Halloween parties. So I'm just going to stay in. I'm going to watch some horror movies probably, hand out candy. We are giving our trick-or-treaters the big candy bars this year, again, for the second year in a row. And the kids love them. So that's what I'll be doing. And, you know, speaking of candy, I found this on history.com, so you know it's legit. Did you know that 1/4 of all the candy sold annually in the US is purchased for Halloween? And then I wrote here $6 billion. Second largest commercial holiday except for Christmas. So that does it. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. All right. Mwah. Bye, guys.